Here are the three.
Yeah, from the edge of the ocean to the rise of the sun. This is more than a trip, this is how it's done. West Coast breeze in my wings as I glide. Golden sunsets, let the highways decide. Redwoods talking, mountains telling me truth. Every mile adds wisdom, every stop adds proof.
From deserts that whisper to cities that scream, neon lights mixed with an American dream. I don't rush the journey, let the land educate. Every border cross feel like I'm leveling fate. I ain't lost, I'm learning. Every turn keeps earning more than views, more than fame. I'm chasing knowledge, not a name. I'm flying like an eagle, coast to coast, over rivers, fields, and stories untold. Searching for freedom, flying like an eagle through the land. Every state got truth in the sand. This is America, seen wide and free. Knowledge my fuel, sky under me. Flames roll wide like pages in a book. Small towns teaching lessons you overlook. Factories humming, campuses alive. History breathing just to show how we survive. Through heartland roads where the stars feel close. Every face got a story, every town got hope. I don't just visit, I listen instead. Cause wisdom ain't loud, it's what's quietly said. I ain't here for postcards, I'm here for the wise heart. How they live, how they grow, how the roots shape what they know. I'm flying like an eagle, coast to coast, over rivers, fields, and stories untold. Searching for freedom, searching for life, from west to east, yeah. Day to night, I'm flying like an eagle through the land. Every state got truth in the sand. This is America, seen wide and free. Knowledge my fuel, sky under me. Freedom ain't just space, it's understanding. Knowing the ground where you're landing. Past and present in the same frame. Different voices, one shared name. East Coast skyline, sunrise gold. Cowbirds, classrooms, stories bold. From cobblestone past to modern halls. You feel the weight when history calls. I came for the journey, stayed for the truth. Every stop sharpened my vision, my youth.
What's good, family? Welcome back to the channel. I'm E. Millions Williams, your tour guide for today's journey. Before we get moving, do me a quick favor if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing you these deep dive travel reports. This week, we're traveling to Washington, D.C. But we're not here just to visit, we're here to understand why D.C. ticks. This city isn't just monuments and museums. It's power, policy, education, culture, and everyday life, all layered into one place. Throughout this series, we'll be breaking down a full travel report. What it's like to be here, move through the city, and experience it as a visitor. And just as important, we'll be covering a quality of life report, how people live, learn, work, and build futures in the nation's capital. So lock in, stay curious, and travel with purpose. Ikuzo.
Hey, how you doing? You're here with Emil, and the purpose of these state series is for travelers to come and understand what to expect when they do visit different places. I've traveled all of USA as far as the mainland, from east to west, and I've made it a point for over the years to try to keep up with a few notes about how things work and kind of evaluate, talk to people. And at this point, it's more of trying to allow others to understand what to expect when they go, just the quality of life and just travel. So one thing that we do know about DC is the capital. All right, we know that. Outside of it being the capital, it has so much more than it just being the capital. So right now, we're just going to go into the travel aspect of it, and then we're going to deep dive a little bit more into it. Just a little bit about DC. It's only 68.3 square miles, so it's not really a big state. It's a province. It's something that's really not meant to be a state. at the same time, it's grown past where it used to be. It has 700,000 residents, 6 million in the DC metro area, as well as is known for being the capital, of course, home of the White House, U.S. Capitol, Supreme Court, and dozens of federal agencies. It is also renowned for its monuments and museums, especially the Smithsonian Institution, international diplomacy, think tanks, political media. Culturally, DC is strongly identified in Black history. Go-go music is something that the DC DMV residents love. It's really the home of go-go. It's very unique. Also, high in education in public policy. It's probably one of the most educated places that you can be in. So, when coming in DC, there's three major highways: I-66, I-295, I-395, and of course, I-295, I-395 falls into I-95. The U.S. highways 1, 27, 29, 50, 66, Indian Headed Highway, MLK Junior Highway, Southeast Freeway, Southwest Freeway, Street Expressway, and as well as the White Horse Freeway. And that they do have some parkways and major roads. If you like, you can check that out later on your own. This will be in the description, so if you want to check out the full presentation, you can. But just going ahead and looking at a little bit of the geography of DC. So there's plenty of different maps, interactive maps, printable road maps. So when you do visit, you'll be able to have like a reference on hand. Sometimes your GPS ain't all that, but most times your GPS is good. A few road maps, and then also they always talk about things you can do in DC. So the 10 things you can do: Lincoln Memorial, the White House, the Washington Monument, Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, Thomas Jefferson Museum, the National Mall, National Gallery of Art, MLK Memorial, the Pentagon, and as well as the National Museum of African American History and Culture. If you notice, it's all in a few mile radius. So if you do visit, you can really just knock out all this and just, in the afternoon, in the evening, you can at least check it out. Check out the National Mall. It's huge. You can check out a few different places. It's all right there. So let's get back to it. So one thing about DC, because it is so small, it really doesn't have any rest areas inside. If you are looking to rest, again, you can always come to check out the PowerPoint that I have that's connected to the description, and you'll be able to maneuver coming in and out. And I'm really thinking about people in RVs. If my family, we were big in the RV life, where my father-in-law, he has a huge RV tribe. They go in different places, and you be able to park your RV outside of the city and then drive just a regular car inside. You really don't have have to have a car, because there's so many different ways to travel around DC. So there's no tolls in DC, unlike New York. Normally go to a major city, there's a bunch of tolls. And again, we're big on bridges, because bridges are very beautiful. And they do connect the different states. If you notice, a lot of times when you do go to another state, is normally a bridge that separates them. So this is just a list of the bridges that are from the Potomac River bridges, going from DC to Virginia or Maryland. The Arlington Memorial Bridge, which is built in 1932. The 14th Street Bridge, which is on I-395. Then we have the Francis Scott Key Bridge, built in 1923, going to Georgetown to Roslyn. Then they have the Theodore Roosevelt Bridge, which is I-66 to Foggy Bottom, Roosevelt Island. Then you have the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, I-95, I-495 drawbridge, and that has a bunch of pedestrian and bike lanes as well. The Chain Bridge is Stuart Crossing since 1797, and they turned into steel 1939. So that's really historical when you think about it. So if you really were to try to check it out, that'll be a beauty to check out. You'd be looking at a piece of history since 1797 has been around. Then also we have the Anacostia River Bridges. This is east to west DC connections, which is only three of them. The 11th Street Bridge, and after that we have the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge, which goes to South Capitol Street to I-295, around since 1950. John Philip Sosa Bridge, which is PA Ave Southeast, been around since 1939. And then after that, we have two different bridges going from Northwest DC landmarks. The Rock Creek Bridges, Duke Ellington Bridge, 1935, from Adams Morgan to Woodley Park. Then the Taft Bridge, which is built 1907, Connecticut Ave to Biaux Arts. So again, if you want to come check out on the PowerPoint, you can go and check out where they talk more about the bridge's history. If you are a history buff, I recommend you doing that. If not, well, just check out a few of these beautiful bridges. So again, when you travel to DC, you do not have to have a car. Unlike going to the South, if you're in the South, you have to have a car. The more north you go, the less of a vehicle being necessary is not needed. So when you go to New York, we know that they have different trains. As far as DC, Maryland, DMV, they use the Metro line. And as you see on this chart right here, it shows at least 6 different types of metros, which the red line goes to Shady Grove to Glenmont. It's really making a U. So you can take the red line to go from Maryland to inside DC, back outside Maryland, past Silver Spring. The orange line, Vienna to New Carrollton. This right here, Vienna, is somewhere in is north side of Virginia, and then after that, you'll be able to make your way inside DC and then outside of Maryland. After that, we talk about the blue line, Francina, which would be from the north side of Virginia, going into DC, then leaving out of going into Maryland. We talk about the yellow line. The yellow line is one that goes from the north side of DC, and then you end up in DC. It does not go outside DC. So it goes from Huntington, Virginia to the Greenbelt, DC. Talking about the green line really goes from the top of the bottom of Maryland, Greenbelt, goes through DC, and then ends up at the bottom of the DC of Maryland. So you go through DC and get the bottom through of Maryland. That's what the green line goes to, and you end up in Branch Avenue. After that, we talk about the silver line. The silver line goes from Ashburn, then it travels through DC, and then it ends up in Largo, downtown Largo, Maryland. All right. So there's a few things that I would like us to kind of look at when we're talking about traveling to DC. So let's go ahead and check it out. And you know, I'm from a place where we like to see stuff. We don't like just talking about it. So we're gonna look at it. And this is just a few pieces of information on traveling and navigating through DC. As you see, so when we talk about DC, whenever you're going through, there are little stations where you put money in, and you really, if you see all these stops, you really don't need a car to travel DC. The travel times is from 5 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Friday, same deal. It closes a little later at 1 a.m. And then Saturday, it opens up a little later, 7 through 1 a.m. And then Sunday, it opens late and closes earlier from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. The range of fare will be from $225 to $675. There are different apps that you'll be able to check out to see about your travel. So that's one thing that's really neat. They also have a card, I believe, that allows you to travel for like 2 hours on the metro buses for for however long you need. So yes. So what I got for you is a video based on the travel. So let's get into it.
This is a 7000 series train. Doors opening. Step back to allow customers to exit. When boarding, please move to the center of the car. This is a red line train to Silver Spring. The next stop is Tacoma.
Recommend doing when you arrive in DC is to get a Metro Smart Trip card. These cards can be used to pay for both the Metro and public buses, and you can get a card from the vending machines located at any Metro station. Simply follow the prompts on the screen, insert your cash or credit card, and you're good to go. One important thing to know is you can check how much money is left on your card at any time by touching it to the scanner on these vending machines. If you want to top up your card, simply tap the scanner, follow the prompts, and use the switches to adjust how much you want to add. Many people simply just add the default $10, but you can actually increase or reduce the amount you want to add with the switches below. Once you've selected your amount, simply tap your card to the scanner one last time, and your card will show the new updated balance.
With a Smart Trip card in hand, now it's time to discuss your options for getting around the city. One of the most efficient methods to get around is the Metro, which is DC's subway system. With over 128 miles of track and 6 different subway lines, you can get to most of DC's key areas with the Metro. The Smithsonian National Mall Station is centrally located near many of the museums and monuments, so use this as a reference point when planning your trip. And while you can purchase a day pass or a multi-day pass, we typically preferred paying the standard fare, as you can get unlimited transfers within a 2-hour period, which allows you to hop around easily. Since you're allowed to transfer between buses and metros all you want within this 2-hour window. Just be sure to keep your Metro card accessible, as you'll need to scan it on the scanner when you leave the Metro. We love DC's Metro system and felt it was clean and simple with a cool atmosphere.
So one thing I'm noticing riding these Metros is how incredibly smooth they are. When I compare it to the L in Chicago or some of the older public transportation systems we've been on, they're really rickety, and these ones are smooth as a cloud. Incredibly well done public transit. Besides the Metro, another top way to get around the city is to use the public buses. When it comes to buses, Google Maps is an incredibly helpful tool, as it shows the live location of most buses in operation, so you can actually time out exactly when your bus will arrive at your stop. When you board a bus, you can either tap to pay with your Metro Smart Card at the front scanner or pay with cash. Once on board, grab a seat or stand with a handle, and you should be good to go. When your stop is next, you should signal to the driver that you'd like to get off by either pulling on the yellow stop request cord or hitting the red button on one of the hand poles.
And if you're like many tourists and are visiting DC to admire the many monuments and museums, there's a special bus route you'll need to check out. Given the National Mall is over 2 miles long and can be exhausting to see everything on foot, we recommend jumping on the National Mall Circulator Bus. This bus has 15 stops that are perfectly coordinated with many of the key memorials and museums along the National Mall area, with buses coming every 10 minutes and it costing just $1 for a ride or $2 for unlimited hop-on, hop-offs thanks to DC's unlimited 2-hour transfer policy. This is a great option to maximize your time in DC. To find the stops, just look for the red signs that say DC National National Mall Circulator. We're also about to release our list of top things to do in DC, so be sure to check that out if you're looking for the perfect itinerary.
Get around the city is by Public Scooter. Lime, Lyft, and Spin are popular brands around the city, and you can unlock these with an app on your smartphone. For payment, you can expect to pay by the minute for each ride. And please be sure to stick to the streets and stay off the sidewalk in the main business and tourist district. While fun and affordable, ride these scooters at your own risk, and it's highly advised to wear a helmet and be extra careful while scooting. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.
All right. So when you are in DC, if you are coming by major buses like Greyhound, Megabus, the Peter Pan, or train, Amtrak, you're gonna go through Union Station, and these are the popular places that Union Station has as far as their options. Hold on a sec. All right, so these are a few of the popular places for that they travel from New York City to DC, Boston, Massachusetts, DC, Richmond, Baltimore, Philly, Raleigh, North Carolina, Chicago, Illinois, Atlanta, Norfolk, Virginia. Those are all popular train trips that go through Union Station. The bus options, again, when you're intercity, long distance buses to DC, like we already mentioned, the Greyhound, the Megabus, the Peter Pan, also FlexBus, Coach USA, and Boat Bus. Those are all different type of bus systems that you can use. We talk about regional or commuter buses. That will be the Vamos bus, the Best Bus, Go Buses, Virginia Breeze, and of course the MTA, the Maryland Transit Administration. There's a bunch of those. Local and metro area buses serving DC itself, the WMATA, the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, Arlington Transit, ART, the Fairfax Connector, Montgomery County Ride-On, Prince George's County, the bus, and primary bus arrival points in DC, like we said again, will be Union Station, downtown DC, and Noma, Ivy City, and suburban metro hubs, Silver Spring, Roslyn, Arlington. Those are basically from places that are right outside of DC. Those are those places. Silver Spring is in Maryland, Roslyn and Arlington are both in Virginia. So when we're taking planes to get into DC, we have the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, which is technically, in my opinion, is more in the Virginia line than DC, but it is considered DC land. But it's like across the Potomac River. Then across the Potomac River, there's DC. So when you do go in, it's very tight in there. The College Park Airport. This right here is a public airport serving College Park, Riverdale Park, University Park area, the oldest public airport that is still operating. Stafford Regional Airport, a public airport serving Stafford, Virginia, right outside DC. The BWA or the BWI, the Baltimore Washington International Airport. This is really in Maryland, but at the same time, when people do come and visit DC, this is normally where they come through. And then after that, the third major airport would be the Dulles International Airport, the IAD, which is a public airport serving the DC metro area. Just okay. So, like we talked about the international airports, the domestic airport would be one place would be Hagerstown Regional Airport. We talk about federal, the AFB Air Force Base. The and because, in fact, if you like to know more about that, you can always check out this uh, the PowerPoint for this. But there's clearly a few military airports as far as their towers are concerned, and a few historical airports that are being decommissioned. If you'd like to learn more about that, just check out um, you can check this out. Let's go ahead and talk about traveling around DC. As we all know, DC, well, we don't always know. Well, if you didn't know, DC is big on biking. So, with that being said, biking in DC is very popular and practical thanks to its expanding network of protected bike lanes, scenic trails, and relatively flat terrain. Cyclists can ride along iconic routes like the National Mall, Rock Creek Park, and the Capitol Crescent Trail while commuting or sightseeing. The city's Capitol bike share system makes short trips easy without owning a bike. And many streets now include dedicated lanes for safety. DC continues to invest in bike infrastructure, make cycling an increasingly safe, affordable, and eco-friendly way to get around the city. If you lived in DC, having a bike might be more functional than having a car. When you have a car, you have to figure out where to park and you have to figure out how much it's going to cost and the time. You know how it goes. You might be able to park there now, but you're not going to be able to park there later. If you want to learn more about the biking of the bike safe places in DC, feel free, check out the PowerPoint. It will be in there, and you'll be able to quickly find the routes of that routes and that will benefit you. We talk about bodies of water. I myself, I love bodies of water. That's one thing I go to and thrive to look at. So the major rivers and streams, we've mentioned it a few times already. The Potomac River, the primary river forming much of the DC border with Virginia, offering river cruises, kayaking, and views of monuments. The Anacostia River flows from Maryland into the Potomac within the district, popular for fishing and kayaking. The next body of water would be Rock Creek, a tributary flowing through Rock Creek Park, providing hiking and biking trails along its bank. Then Oxen Run, another creek within the district. So we have a few man-made waterways and other features. The Tidal Basin, a popular man-made reservoir near the National Mall, central to the Cherry Blossom Festival. We have the Chesapeake in Ohio, or the C&O channel, runs parallel to the Potomac, offering historic tow paths for walking in canal boat rides. We also have the Washington Channel, a navigable waterway separating the mainland from the southwest waterfront, connecting to the Potomac. These waters are vital for recreation, wildlife, and the city's identity. Through water quality remains a focus for environmental efforts. So, if you are a person who has a child or still young at heart, they have many parks you'll be able to take advantage of. The indoor parks, as well as zero depth or outdoor pools. Well, that's what if you notice, what I meant to say was indoor pools and zero depth outdoor pools. What you see there, this is a map of all of the parks that they have, all of the local parks. So if you are the south, east, west of DC, there is a park for you. As far as pools, there are plenty of pools that you can frequent as well. U.S. national parks and sites in DC. There are a bunch of them that are naturally maintained, and after that, we also have monuments. So if you like to learn more about the parks, you can always check this out. As far as the National Historic Sites, we have the Carter G. Woodson Home National Historic Site, We have the Ford's Theater National Historic Site. We have the Frederick Douglass National Historic Site. We have the Mary McLeod Bethune Council House National Historic Site, and we have the White House in President's Park. Those are the national historic sites. As far as national trails, there's plenty of those too. One of them will be the Captain John Smith Chesapeake National Historic Trail, and a few other ones. When we talk about the memorials and monuments, there are a vast amount of those. The African American Civil War Memorial, the Belmont Paul Women's Equality National Monument, the Dwight D. Eisenhower Memorial, the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial, the Korean War Veteran Memorial, the LBJ Memorial Grove on the Potomac, the Lincoln Memorial, MLK Jr. Memorial, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, Vietnam Veterans Memorial, Washington Monument, World War I Memorial, World War II Memorial. These are all places that if you do travel, many of these places can be hit in the evening. So I recommend anybody who cares about America and want to know about the roots of America, just travel and see some of these monuments. They normally have, they do have historical marks where you be able to read about the history of America and the making of it and the people who sacrificed so much to make it what it is now. So again, it is rich in museums, cultural institutions, and attractions in DC area. If you notice, it's normally within a 3 to 5 mile radius of all of the museums. They have a few other museums that's not, as we see on the map here. The Smithsonian National Zoological Park is not next to it, when the Hillwood Estate Museum and Gardens are not, but everything else is around the National Mall. So if you do come and visit and want to explore, you go to the National Mall, and then you could be able to determine what you want to see. If you want to look at some spy museum, air and space, art, the American history, African American history, then the illusions, as well as natural history, and then after that, there's a few other ones: the Children's Museum, the Museum of the American Indian, the Postal Museum, the National Building Museum. There are a slew of different museums and attractions you can come, learn from, see, enjoy. So I do highly recommend, especially if you have some kids, to go in and check them out. So now we get into the interesting part. We're going to talk about the quality of life in DC. So let's go ahead and dive into the cost of living in DC. So the average cost of living in DC is $92,037 per year. This is a real thing. This breaks down as follows: housing and utilities, $16,481. That is not as much as it is in real life, because we have $2+ million homes, row homes in DC. So this number is not really bringing up the real number, but we're just gonna use this number for now. We talk about healthcare, $13,000. Food and beverage, non-restaurant, will be $7,500. And then we talk about natural gas and energy goods, $1,500, and all other personal expenditures, $53,000. Traveling around DC is very expensive. And up to this right here, it says, what is it? It ranks 49th on the list is low on affordability scale. So it's a 49 out of 51. So the only states that are higher will be Hawaii, Massachusetts, and California. Those are the only more expensive states than DC. So when you go to Hawaii, we know because of the fact that half the stuff that they have has to be imported, the way it has to be imported, because when you're on an island, resources limited. Massachusetts, one of the first states of America, and we all know, I think, I'm not sure if Harvard or Yale is there, but we do know that that is very expensive area. California, we know it has the we know that it has the GDP of a small country, you know. So if California wanted to break off on us, they probably could, honestly. So housing costs in DC, again, what I was saying about that number, 16,000 don't really sound realistic. With roommates, 16. But you might be in a small efficiency. But yeah, on average, it's gonna cost you anywhere from $1,600 to $3,100 a month for housing in DC. The median monthly mortgage cost will be $3,000. The median studio rent, like I said, you're gonna be in a tight quarters if you're by yourself, $1,600. 1 bedroom, $1,900. 2 bedroom, $2,000. 3 bedroom, $2,600. 4 bedroom, $2,900. 5 or more, $3,100. And median gross rent, $1,900. As far as the utilities, it's gonna run you about $440 a month. And the breakdown goes as follows: for electricity, it's gonna be like 100, gas gonna be like 100, cable and internet 85, water is 41. When we talk about that cable and internet, we really should lower that to like $40 if you are a streamer. Let's go ahead and move on. We talk about groceries and food. It's gonna cost about $625 per person per month. So it is very expensive just getting groceries. And we talk about transportation, again, you do not have to own a car to be able to get around DC. So $6,000 to $12,000 a year. That's what it looks like. And after that, for one adult, $6,000. For 2 adults with 3 kids, they say $11,300. I'll just say $12,000 because, you know, it might be kind of higher than what you think. As far as healthcare, it's saying that's going to be $13,000 per year. Healthcare is not cheap. Childcare is not cheap neither. When we talk about the average childcare cost in DC, will be $1,300 to $2,000 per child. If you think about that, that's going to raise your minimum amount of money. That's the reason why, in my opinion, if you really think about it, it's good to have a family member who's nana, or, you know, G. Whatever you want to call it, it's good to have a G around. All right. And the reason why that is, when you look at it, the younger the child is, the more expensive it is. So when we talk about infants and toddlers, they cost about $2,000. Preschooler classrooms, $1,300. And after that, home-based family child care, $1,400. The tax rate is 10.75% in DC. Yes, so if you would like to learn more about this and other places, you can go to sofi.com, SOFI.com, to be able to compare more of cost of living in different places. I recommend, before you move anywhere, besides getting the job, so you always should find a source of income before you move, is to evaluate the cost of living of the place and really realize if it is a increase of pay you're getting or decrease, because the cost of living could make $100,000 look like it's big, but it's really not. And if you're in California, DC, or Massachusetts, or Hawaii, $100,000 is nothing. But if you're in Alabama, you balling. So let's go ahead and check out the real cost of living in DC, because we always like to use more than one source. I recommend using multiple sources. All right, so the living index, talking about that, cost of living. So housing, DC boasts median home prices over $700,000 and average rents of 1 bedroom apartments hovering over around $2,500. That's what I was talking about, it being a little bit more expensive than the last document you looked at, because I remember when I lived there, I lived in Silver Spring, and I was renting a room, and outside when I was grown, I was living in a room for like $750, which is pretty good because I was right outside DC. But then I had colleagues that were paying like $2,200 for a 1 bedroom apartment, and they thought it was it was all right. I'm like, okay, but if you want to live like the boss, live like the king, you got to pay that $2,500 to live on your own. I recommend getting multiple rooms so that way you can at least get a roommate here and there. So, but that's up to whoever's out there. When we talk about the unlimited passes that go for $64 to $100, so that means that if you had a pass as far as the metro is concerned for less than $100, and you be able to travel on the metro buses. And when I say metro, I meant the train system, because in DC they refer to the metro as trains. All right, and after you can use the trains or the bus system for under $100. And this right here, you're gonna pay less doing that than having your car, because having your car, you're gonna at least pay $2,000 a month for parking, because parking is very expensive. We already talked about utilities. That looks about right. Groceries is 10 to 15% more on food and household goods than you would in other cities, which I tend to agree. And premiums for private health plans can exceed $400 per month for individuals. What is it expensive to live in DC? Yes, we know it's expensive. Dining out at a mid-range restaurant might be 20 to 40 per person. Even casual cafes and fast food spots can add up quickly. And after that, gym memberships average around $60 to $90 per month, depending on amenities at the location. Comparing DC to other locations, if you compare DC, it's high cost in every category, especially housing. When you talk about Arlington, Virginia, also expensive, but often offers more modern housing for similar prices. Many families and professionals opt for Arlington due to access to quality schools and slightly more space. One thing about DC, you're going to get a okay sized house for a mansion price. You're not going to be able to live like a king unless you are spending multi-million dollars for your resident. Normally, you're going to be in a row house that's going to cost anywhere from $700 to $3 million. When we talk about Baltimore, it's 30% cheaper than DC. That's the reason why a lot of people who live in Maryland, the DMV area, move to Baltimore. Baltimore does have its positive and negatives. We're going to get more into that when we talk about Maryland. But for right now, let's talk about the comfortability of being in DC. So in order to be comfortable in DC, it's going to be $2,500 to rent, 1 bedroom apartment in city center, $200 utilities, $700 for groceries and dining, $150 for transportation, healthcare, $400, entertainment and personal care, $3,000. This is $4,200 a month, which equates to $51,000 a year, excluding income taxes. This estimate does not include debt repayments, student loans, or contributions to retirement beyond basic savings, making actual financial needs potentially even higher for many individuals. So if you are an individual, you can make it all $51,000, barely. As soon as you have family, that cost increases. So yeah, so if you're thinking about moving to DC, I highly recommend you checking out this article in this PowerPoint. And after that, we're going to finish off the conclusion that the author has. So it is expensive to live in DC. Yes, absolutely. The city is one of the most expensive in the country, but it offers unparalleled opportunities, cultural experiences, and career options that many find well worth the premium. The cost of living in DC should be factor you carefully consider. Balance your income, savings goals, and lifestyle preferences when making a move. understanding the cost of living in DC's landscape will put you in a better position to make informed decisions for your future. With planning and the right resources, including help from a professional DC moving company, your move to the capital can be a smart and successful investment in the future. One thing I have to say, if you're deep in your career, again, if you're deep in your career, moving to DC might be a great move. And I just say that because whenever someone lives in DC, you're more likely going to get paid more than you are in other places. So if you're able to somehow maneuver through the very expensive bills that you have in dealing with DC, and you be able to save something or or send money back home, it might be a great deal. But if you're planning on coming here and saving your money and you're and living your best life, DC might not be the place for you. So when we talk about getting a hotel, getting a room, so let's check out just the cost of getting hotels in this area. So one thing about traveling in these places, what I've noticed, if you travel in these places and it's during the weekday, you're most likely going to get a great price versus on weekends or holidays. All right. So with that being said, the cost of you visiting will be less if you do it more in the future. So what we're going to do, we're going to just go from February the 9th to February the 11th, and let's go to the 12th. Let's say you plan on spending a week in DC between February the 9th through 12th. Let's go ahead and see how much it's going to run us. If we are looking for one of the best places, as far as very good, you can pay upwards of $492. If you notice, club quarters was $406 for it, and this will be $135 per night. So $129, $93, $152, $108, $223. And Hampton Inn in DC looks good. The convention center, I like that look. So that's $223. So if you notice, we're not really seeing anything for under 100. But let's say that we are looking for bare bones and besides their top picks. Let's let's look at the highest picks first. So there's plenty of places where, okay, so this is a little mansion a person trying to rent out, and they're renting this mansion out with the whole entire vacation home for $1,400 a day. Then we have another one, another home, $4,100 a day. $4,100 for 3 days, $1,400 for a day, $1,100 for an apartment that's right outside the National Mall. So if you wanted to live out there for, actually not really live there, but rent an apartment for a few days, a 1-bedroom apartment, the person's renting out for $1,100. If you do the math on it, about three, like this right here is paying this person's note. That's paying their whole note right there. If you look at that, if you're paying someone $3,500, you're paying their note. This right here is a 2-bedroom condo, $1,100. So this in DC can be very expensive, $740 per night, and it is 3 units. Okay, so it's 3 different units. So it's okay. So yeah, 3 different units that the person's renting out. The Ritz-Carlton, $800. Someone has a house for $770, and then you have like okay, so it looks like a castle, but it's I guess it's a hotel castle, and they're doing it for $745 a night. So let's look at the least expensive route, because not everybody wants to spend their mortgage, make a mortgage payment to stay for a couple days. So in that case, you can find some places for $53. All right, and then $59, $63, $70. This is a hospice. A hospice hostel is some place where you have to share with other people. I really don't recommend it for families per se, because technically this could be a per person deal. But as far as this right here, charming two master queen bedroom in DC, $70. So okay, these are basically people's houses that we're looking at. A lot of these places. I would like to figure out this capsule hostel. Let's look at it, see what they talking about. So I guess it's like the room, like it's a shared room, but you close yourself up in your own little quarter pod. So I mean that's interesting concept. Because that way, if you are on the other side, I'm pretty sure you can lock the other side. And, you know, lock up what you need. It has a whole mirror in there too. So you got a mirror, probably electrical devices. This is a very interesting concept to say the least. Got the lockers and everything. So if an individual or a few people are traveling each other, this don't seem like a bad deal. You know, even with a family, it doesn't seem like a bad deal. And out of 361 reviews, it's given an 8.5 out of 10. That's what it's averaging. So that's really not bad. So yeah, let me go ahead and put a heart on this one. And after that, it's another capsule place. But this is for females. The other one's for mix. The other one's for females. So that does make sense. If I was a lady traveling by myself, I would rather a place that only houses women. So I'm not having to worry about anybody trying to mess with me at all. So one thing that we didn't look at was if it was hotels only. So let's just look at just the hotels. So when we look at the lowest prices, the cheapest hotel you're going to find is for $73. And this is weekday. We're not even talking about weekend. We're not talking about holiday. This is weekday. So this is 73 in the area Northwest. Northwest is not a bad place. So on the map. So it's DuPont Circle. Okay. Yeah, it's still not horrible. It's not bad. And if you notice, we have Old Korean Litigation Museum, Watermelon House, whatever that's supposed to mean. Then you're not far from the White House. Yeah. So yeah, that location is not bad. If you want to be in a hotel instead of trusting and being around strangers, the best you're gonna see is about $73 is being the minimum, and this is weekday. On the weekend, it'll be a little different. Let's see what it'll be for the weekend, and I'm gonna pick the weekend that's after after Valentine's, because we know Valentine's is gonna be a lot higher. So if you see that when we look at the places as far as hotels on the weekend. All right, hold on. Let's get the lowest price. That same hotel we looked at earlier was like $90 something. So apparently this place right here is very inexpensive. This is Northeast side. I'm not exactly sure how, like, what's going on with Northeast as much as I am Northwest and Southeast, Southwest. But the cost for here is about $61. Got one for $87. So it's very expensive, because when you start traveling, a lot of times you can find places for $55. So that's not the cheapest. But at the same time, it's not the most expensive. So let's talk about food options in DC. One thing I love about DC is the fact that they have a variety of food. People move from all over the world to live in DC. And because you have this melting pot of DC, when you're in the schools, when you're walking around, when you're at the food places, when you're at the museums, and you're at the restaurants, they're all diverse. It's like you can eat whatever you want in DC. Unlike if you go to a place like Alabama, where you're going to find more down south cooking, barbecue, and those things that the southern hospitality has to offer. You have the best of all of the world's food. So this is Rick Eats DC. When we talk about his choices, let's see what he says is number one. So he gives Moon Rabbit number one, located on 927 F Street Northwest, and this is Penn Quarters. So that food don't look that bad. All right, there's some kind of shrimp, squid boudin, green curry sponge cake. I don't know if I don't know if I like to dive into that sponge cake at all. I'm good off that. But hey, at the same time, if you like it, I love it, right? We have the Queen's English. This is located 3410 11th Street, Northwest DC, Columbia Heights. Then the kind of food they have to offer: crispy pig ear with watercress, leche. Oh man, that's definitely something French. Mushroom with royal trumpet, pickled shimage, tofu ranch dill. That don't seem too appealing to me. I'm be honest, it doesn't. And truffle dumpling with edamame, shallots, corn, espuma. Yeah, I don't know. I might try that. I'm not really that enthused by that. The next top third option that Rick is giving us will be the Albee Yellow, and Albee is located on 1346 4th Street Southeast, Washington D.C., and also Yellow, which will be 1524 Wisconsin Ave, Northwest Washington D.C., Georgetown, and Hummus Yellow Cafe. And then we have the falafel with pickled onions. Then we have the wood grilled Brazino with patate hara. Yeah, they're kind of missing me. Then the Lutis, which is located 1522 Wisconsin Ave, Northwest Washington D.C., Georgetown, and that's more my speed right there. The La Belle Farm duck with beets, Comquet's sauce brigade, and yeah, that don't look too bad. I mean, I'm still not gonna be rushing to eat it. Then have the Parmesan juicy with green garlic tomato. Yeah, that seemed like a nice appetizer. Then we have the La Ardente, 200 Massachusetts Avenue, Northwest. And this is Capitol Crossing between Union Station and Chinatown. All right, that looks more like my speed, except I don't eat avocado. Lunchtime salad verde with prawns. So, fungi pizza with Mornay and wild mushrooms. I'll try it. I mean, I wouldn't order it, but I'll try it. The 40-layer lasagna with short rib sugo, truffle Mornay. I'll try that before I try a lot of the other stuff we've seen. Then we have the St. Anselm 1250 5th Street Northeast DC, Union Market. Then okay, let's see. Biscuits with pimento cheese. All right. Salmon collar. Yeah, okay, I'll eat that. Oh man, now we talking the tomahawk type steak, the axe handle ribeye. Yeah, okay. Oh man, Ricky was losing for a minute. The Fib Koi, or the which is 3462 14th Street Northwest, Columbia Heights, or the Ban May Ma, which is 1604 7th Street Northwest, which is in Shaw Bedek. Which is in Shaw, and then we have the Bedek, which is 6395 Seven Corners Center, which is actually not in DC, it's outside of it, Falls Church, Virginia. Oh man, that person right there looked like he got full, but it's good kind of pain. Okay, so Neem Koi, crispy coconut rice salad, preserved pork sausage, banana blossom, mint, scallion, cilantro, onion. I can't say if that's good or bad. Topeka dumplings, preserved radish, and a peanut caramel, cilantro. It's not giving. That's not giving. That looked like some kind of jellyfish. I mean, if that looks good to you, then go for it. But I'm not trying it. The crab curry with leche and snap pea. I might try that because I like curry and I like crab. So yeah, I'll definitely try that. That makes two things I like. So we're gonna go through to number 10, the Austria Maze, 3726 M Street Northwest, and this is in Georgetown. All right, Focia di Ricio with Sorricino cheese. Yeah, I'll try it. This is basically like pizza. And yeah, I'll try that too. Pasta, Bolognes. Got some names. I'll still try it. Chicken alla diavolo su coston. Yeah, that looks alright. That looks pretty good. Butterscotch bondino, caramel sauce, cream fraiche, Madon sea salt. Now, yeah, that looks like a good appetizer. The next one we have on the list, number 9, Namek, 1813 Columbia Road, Northwest Washington, D.C., Adams Morgan. Okay, I will try this one. This is a fete saganaka, sesame crusted fried feta with honey. The roasted cauliflower with turmeric, tahina, and garlic. Yeah, I'll try that too. And the Aldana kebab, which is basically spicy ground lamb with lavish. Yeah, we'll definitely try that. The last one we're going to check out will be the Anju, 1805 18th Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. This is located in DuPont Circle. The Waku beef tartare with palm sugar, chili basil seeds, pine noodle nuts, and lotus crisp. So again, like I was saying before, DC has a very vast and diverse food options versus if you went to Alabama, Birmingham. And then the last one it has to offer is the chicken, half fried chicken with spicy gourgand glaze, white barbecue grizzle. So it's basically, mixing up fried chicken. There are a bunch of other places that you can try outside, and a lot of what they were showing were the more extravagant type of food. If your palate is not as diverse as what we looked at, As you notice, just scrolling down, some of these look like regular American food. Some of them look like they are from the other side of the planet, which is good because when you live in a place that costs so much, you don't have as much money to travel as much. And if you don't have the money to travel as much, you might as well get a taste of things that you normally wouldn't taste if people didn't commute and relocate to that location. So just taking a real quick look at the other ones. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to do because some people, I'm not going to front. I'm getting full just by looking at some of this food. Some of the food like make me not want to eat like that. I do not know. I do not understand what's going on right there. But at the same time, some of it is like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. So when you visit DC, you have a slew of options of what to eat. There are a vast amount of places to visit. There's no real need to have a car on your visit when you live there or when you're visiting. All you really would need is to get a Metro pass. You can come the Amtrak way, you can come the bus way, you can come RV way, but if you come RV, you're going to have to find a place to park, normally outside of the DMV, outside of DC itself, but Virginia is right across the river, Potomac. So there are different places where you can park and then get the transportation out there. Of course, we know that Uber and Lyft are in. Go for Lyft. Lyft is nicer. Outside that, I like to bid you adieu, and I appreciate your time. We're going to be going into more detail about the living as far as a deeper dive for those who actually are really interested in living there. Just because if you're living and if you're visiting, they're two different things but when you're living there, you want to know more about the demographics. You want to know more about the comparing the data from this place, that place. You'll want to know about the wards. There's 8 wards of DC. That's the kind of information you like to really know when you're doing more than just visiting and just hanging out. You like to know more about the political climate. You like to know more about the topography that is involved, the time zones, which is Eastern. So, and then the zip codes. So that is part 2 on those who really want to know because they're thinking about actually moving to DC, or they just want to know the history of it. So there's going to be a little bit more to this series. We're going to come up with at least 5 more different videos that pertains to DC. But until then, we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to bid you adieu. I appreciate your time. And again, this has been a real pleasure from one travel lover to another. Make sure that you're traveling and know what you're getting into. So that way, when you do go there, you have an idea on how to make the best of your time. Because if all you have is 48 hours, you don't want to spend the 24 of them hours trying to figure out what to do. Sometimes you like to have an idea of what you already know is good to do. So I bid y'all adieu. I appreciate your time. Again, this is one travel over to another. Stay safe. Make it a point. Make it a plan. Have a good day.
If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you. Thank you for traveling with me through Washington, D.C. If you found value in this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It lets me know you want more reports like this. Next up, make sure you check out our top 10 colleges in Washington, D.C. That video dives deeper into education, opportunity, and what makes the district a serious academic hub. And starting next week, we shift our focus to the state of Pennsylvania, new cities, new history, and a whole new travel and quality of life report. Confident Close. Until next time, Ikuzo.
He's at 20. Yeah, 20. Yeah, we got 20 total.
You missed it.
We got 10. I ain't doing my house like I'm supposed to.
I still panic. I still like they panicking, friend.
Hey!
Charles going over there.
Go, Prince. Shake it. Shake some. Shake some, Prince. Hey. Come on.
She did 10 too.
Come on.
She was a 10. Oh, you scored 10 too?
To it.
Yeah, yes, she did.
Okay,
All right,
so
my
right
bad.
here.
All right, no, but I came back and scored 10 more.
No, you didn't.
Nah. She right. Hey, you gotta get caught with her. Get caught with her.
Yeah. Look at her. Yeah. Shake it. Hey. Go, Prince. Go, Prince. Shake it. Shake it.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Ow. Shake it with me, Prince. Flap some.
Hey, fluff some. Hey.
Oh, come on. Come on. Yeah. You can't hear the music.
Alexa, turn up.
Why are they